Hello, hi and welcome everyone to what's going to be the last mod breakdown video of 2020. We have something really special to show you this time, and by that I mean a mod that's bigger than any DLC available for this game. We have spent the last 4 months developing this insane piece in a team of 7, and we are incredibly happy with how it turned out. Allow me to explain all the mod features to you so you know what to expect when you tick that Vanilla Factions Expanded Mechanoids box in your mod selection window. Vanilla Factions Expanded Mechanoids mod idea received tremendous popularity and support when we first announced it. It was actually a more requested faction expansion than Insectoids, believe it or not. This faction mod greatly improves Mechanoid lore, adding a fully fleshed out faction with its own agenda, as well as dozens of new ways you, the player, can enhance your mid to late game colony. Let's first talk about what Mechanoids are. They are autonomous, intelligent robots built for domestic, industrial, or military purposes. Mechanoid design is complex, and programming needed to make them effective is very advanced. They range in capability from simple domestic worker bots to mechanized assault machines. They are generally classified as spacer-level technology. The mechanoids you see in the game, such as Lancers, Centipedes, and Ciphers, are remnants of the old conflicts, left over to simply follow their old military directives. Mechanoids are present in normal life across, more civilized planets. They are actually capable of completing a wide range of tasks. Unlike robots, mechanoids have advanced programming and are created through mechanite engineering, with nanites used to construct their bodies, which in turn allows mechanoids to fix their wounds in a similar manner human body regenerates cell damage. Mechanoids encountered on the RimWorld are old, and I mean very old. You can actually check their age if you select them. So old that the human commanders have been gone for a long time, and the sad machines are forced to simply do what they remember the most, which is, you guessed it, laying waste to anything in their path. As sad as it is, what's coming to the Rim is even more ruthless. A gigantic mech hive, drifting through space, sent by one of the core world's megacorporations. They have just one objective: strip mine the planet of all the valuable resources and eliminate any natives that could act as witnesses if someone was to ever sue the megacorp for compensation. Despite the thousands of different applications, mechanoids are still limited when it comes to processing power. They are not super intelligences, they are simple robots following orders, and even though those orders can be very complex, they are still just robots. They are capable of analyzing situational data and adjust their directives accordingly, but human commanders are always used to direct mechanoids. Without the human creativity and imagination, mechanoids would just walk straight towards the enemy to fight them. These humans commanders reside within the orbital mech hive, communicating with the ground invasion force using a series of uplinks, coding in new directives as needed. As such, a new faction is introduced, Mechanoid Swarm. They have nothing to do with the old mechanoids already present in the game. In fact, they will actively eradicate these mechanoids as they are nothing but old war machines without any use in the new Mechanoid hive. This faction is not like any other faction as they do not start with any bases on your planet. Let me introduce you to the Total War mechanic, but before we do that, allow me to assure you that this mod is perfectly compatible with any mods that add custom mechanoids, as those mods will enhance the vanilla faction mechs, not our custom ones. At the beginning of the game, no mechanoid bases are present on the map, none at all, 0. This represents the fact that there are no organized mechanoid forces anywhere. Over time, their ships will break away from the mech hive and begin their preparations on the surface. There are 5 different ship types, each of them requiring a special approach if you want to destroy it. Each ship increases the mechanoid presence stat, which is directly translated into their raid size. Frigates are the smallest ship in the mechanoid arsenal. It increases the mechanoid presence on the planet's surface by the equivalent of 2 Lancers each. Destroyer is somewhat bigger than the frigate, but it lacks short-range defenses. It does, however, host a variety of different automortars. It increases the mechanoid presence by the equivalent of 3 Lancers worth. Cruiser is a large-sized vessel with both defensive and offensive capabilities. It increases the mechanoid presence on the planet's surface by 2 Centipedes worth. A troopship is a medium-sized shuttle with a large assortment of different mech fabricators and trooper transports. It increases the mechanoid presence by 4 Centipedes worth. The largest ship in the Mechanoid arsenal, Carrier, is essentially described as a large Mechanoid base of operations. It increases the Mechanoid presence by 8 centipedes worth. What ship will land is dictated by their commonality and has been subjected to extensive testing in order to get the balance right. You'll see more frigates and destroyers than cruisers and troopship, and carriers will only land very occasionally, if ever. I know it might sound daunting, alright, and it might sound like the new Mechanoid faction is just an added difficulty, but it's important to know it does not scale with your wealth. No matter how wealthy your colony is, no matter how much time has passed, the raid size is always dictated by the amount of ships they have, and if all ships are destroyed, they will stop raiding you until more of them land. The way vanilla factions raid power works is that it scales with your wealth. The more time that's passed since your game has started and the bigger the colony you have, the harder raids are thrown your way. Our faction completely disregards these two factors and is solely dictated by their presence. This means it's not harder than vanilla faction raids. In fact, it can be easier at times. So don't fear when you see a Mechanoid ship landing. It's a perfectly normal thing to leave them be if they happen to be too far away, or if devoting a pawn to destroy them is an inconvenience. Ships are what gives Mechanoids their units, so it is expected that some ships will be on the map at all times. Otherwise, the faction cannot attack you. The ships are semi-random and consist of multiple sub-modules, from cargo containers and reactors to auto-mortars and Mechanoid assemblers. All these can be a source of valuable resources and a large number of Mechanoid components, more on which I'll talk about later. Now, the new Mech-HIVE faction features a large number of new Mechanoids. They no longer look like the ancient, creamy, greenish models you're used to. Although they look different, stat-wise and weapon-wise they are exactly the same, so you know what you can expect. This mod adds centipedes, lancers, ciphers and pikemen, which are exactly the same as vanilla Mechanoids, besides that these are hostile towards them. Other Mechanoids include a Knight, a medium-range Mechanoid unit equipped with a light charge blaster and an overshield, an Inquisitor, a heavy Mechanoid equipped with an industrial-grade flamethrower, a terrifying opponent against any entrenched infantry, however with one major flaw: killing it causes a detonation that can be exploited to clear out any surrounding Mechanoids, and a Carpenter, a gigantic spider bot with a bit different directive. Its purpose is not to attack, but to disassemble any of your traps, turrets, power sources and walls in that particular order. Remember, it disassembles, not destroys, meaning you do get your resources back. If Mechanoid presence reaches a certain threshold, anything equal to having 3 carriers on a map at any given time, Mechanoids will receive a hardware upgrade. Whilst they get a very slight increase in stats, the primary difference is that they will now utilize cover, making them 1,000 times more deadly. If we destroy some Mechanoid ships to bring their presence back below the threshold, they will be forced to resume the production of the older models again until the threshold is reached once more. A new possible raid type employed by our new Mechanoid faction shall be a small-sized Mechanoid ship landing directly on your tile. Destroying it will yield many valuable resources, but failing to do so might incur consequences depending on the ship's module composition, be it a terraformer, an MI dynamo, psychic suppressor, and so on. A new Ancient Mechanoid is now added as well, Ancient Carpenter. It can be found in Ancient Dangers and can come with vanilla Mechanoid raids, although its directive is a little bit different than the normal Carpenter. Instead of targeting your traps and turrets, it will go straight for the nearest player build structure. A new resource is added called Mechanoid Components, very advanced processors and nanocalculators, most often used in creation of Mechanoid tech on RimWorld Mechanoid Swarm foundries. You will certainly come across it upon attacking Mechanoid ships or defeating Mechanoid raids, and you should also be able to obtain them from traders. However, this is not craftable, so use them wisely. This resource can be spent on automation, a brand new system of factories inspired by popular titles such as Factorio or Satisfactory. This industrial-level research project allows you to construct factories that automate various tasks around your colony, from mining stone chunks to producing weapons. You can create and optimize intricate production chains as one machine feeds directly into another. Fully compatible with RIM Factory, of course, and their amazing conveyor belt system. Steel extractors produce steel out of stone chunks. Component assembler can be used to automatically turn steel into components, whilst advanced assembler can turn plasteel, components, gold and steel into advanced components. Automatic drills can be used to mine stone chunks from the ground without any human interference. Masonry saws can turn stone chunks to stone blocks. Plasteel forge allows you to turn stone blocks, chemfuel and steel into plasteel at very slow rate. Chemfuel clarifier is able to turn any corpses or wood into chemfuel. Mechanized weaponsmith supports a small range of automation-compatible weapons that it can craft, although the quality is always normal. Artillery foundry can turn raw resources into mortar shells of any type other than anti-grain. Textile recycler will turn any fabric-based clothes into cloth, and any leather-based clothes into patch leather. Autoloom can create a small range of apparel using cloth or patch leather, while Synthread synthesizer can enhance any cloth apparel with plasteel, changing the material type to Synthread. Meat grinder can grind any human or animal corpses into processed meat. Whilst you do not get the leather, you get double the meat amount. Conveyor oven can turn raw food into survival meals. Nutramine infuser turns meat into Nutramine at low efficiency. Medicine granulator is capable of creating medicine, wake up, and penoxycyline. Drug powderizer turns cycoid leaves into either flake or yayo. Factories need to be placed on a special factory floor, which is ugly to look at and slows spawns down. This effect, however, can be mitigated by placing a factory path floor on top of it. Factory hoppers are used to deliver resources to factories. They work just like vanilla hoppers, except they allow you to input any resources into them, not just food. Power pylon needs to be placed directly on the power conduit, and it will allow you to connect things to power up to 3 times further away. Mechanoid components can also be used to create a wide range of fully automated drones. These drones are more like animals than pawns, and they do not appear on your colonist bar. You build them with their charging stations, and each station can support a single drone of that specific type. Let's take a look at what drones we have in store. Auto Cleaner is a small battery efficient but slow drone that will clean up any filth from the area you designate. AUTOHAULER is a fast to charge drone that picks up items and delivers them to their specified stockpiles. Auto Miner is a low battery slow charging drone that will automatically mine any rock area you designate to be mined. Combat Mechanoids are human-sized robots equipped with a 3-round burst mini turret weapon. It will patrol a specified zone and will engage any hostiles within it, but it can also be drafted. Riot Mechanoids are human-sized melee combat robots. It will patrol a specific area, but it can also be drafted as well. Mobile turrets are a large automatic vehicle base which can have any turret installed on top of it. It can patrol a specific area, but it can also be drafted and moved around. There is a limit on what kind of turret you can place on it. Essentially, if a turret is bigger than 3x3, you will not be able to put it on the mobile turret. On top of that, AUTOSOWER is a large 7-block wide machinery that sows a designated plant in the area in front of it. It takes a long time to do so, but it can efficiently sow up to 210 plants in one use. AUTOHARVESTER is a large 7-block wide machinery that harvests plants or trees in the area in front of it. Again, whilst it's indeed very slow, it can harvest up to 210 plants in one single use. You can also use Mechanoid components to build a few other structures that can benefit your colony. Supercomputers will add 1 point toward your currently selected research project every hour, as long as they are connected to power. This means that it can technically automate research, especially when several supercomputers are stacked together. Automortar is a new artillery type that needs to be manually reloaded after 5 shots. It selects targets and fires at them automatically. Auto Charge Blaster, Auto Charge Lance, and Auto Inferno Cannon turrets are salvaged mechanoid tech that uses internal batteries, removing their needs of connection to a power grid. They are, however, very inaccurate and have low firing speed, and after a couple of shots they need to be reloaded with a new component. The long-range missile launcher is our answer for everyone who doesn't want to travel the map anymore for conquest. Simply build a missile within it and unleash it on enemy faction bases or Mechanoid ships. Bonus points for having visibility on that specific map. For those of you who like quests, we have 5 new quests planned. Abandoned Factory quest takes you to a side of an old but still functioning factory. You can disassemble or minify the factory pieces and take them back with you. Mechanoid storage pickup site location is the map guarded with a significant Mechanoid force. Various resources are ready for pickup by planet-bound vessels, but if you destroy the guarding forces, no one is going to stop you from taking these resources yourself. Broadcasting Station quest takes you to an old outpost with various structures you can disassemble, including several supercomputers. Mechanoid Attack Party will have you fight alongside allies to repel a Mechanoid invasion. If you succeed, these allies have a chance of joining your faction. If you fail, is there even still hope? Lastly, the Mechanoid landing site is a location where a new Mechanoid ship will touch down. If you destroy the 4 landing markers, you'll prevent the ship from ever landing. If you don't, however, this tile will become a new Mechanoid faction base. A new starting scenario, Lone Scrapper, will have a pawn and his trusted pack animal come across something rather extraordinary, a functioning factory. It's up to you whether you want to disassemble it for scrap or bring it back to its former glory. Igor Invader is the storyteller for this mod. You probably already know him, but we have some slight changes to this version. If you choose him, you can expect raids to occur every 2 or 3 days. All damage is doubled, which means the game is even more hardcore. After every raid, you will receive a reward in the form of any good event. On top of that, Igor will make sure that you stay updated on what raid is about to occur. You will receive a warning about the raid 12 hours before it happens, stating the faction and the strategy of the attacker. That's about it for this mod. As you can see, it's rather massive, isn't it? It comes compatible with Combat Extended and What the Hack and all other mods you can think of. As I said, this is a separate faction, so any mods that add Mechanoids don't touch it, rather they touch the vanilla mechs. These new Mechanoids don't appear in Ancient Dangers or Mechanoid clusters or anything like this. They have their own set of raid methods and events. If you like the mod and you want to support us in developing more mini expansions like this, please consider looking us up on Patreon. For just $1, you get access to a development blog where I regularly post updates about progress of our upcoming mods. It's not cheap to release such mods, so any help is appreciated. I wish you all a very happy festive period and I'll see you all next year. Take care.